Have you ever felt paralyzed by rejection, like it's a sign that you're not good enough? That feeling that no matter how hard you try, there will always be someone to say no. What if I told you that rejection doesn't have to be an obstacle, but rather a powerful tool for your growth? In this video, you will discover 13 Stoic lessons from Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest philosophers in history, to transform rejection into power using reverse psychology. Imagine being able to face criticism at work, project failures, or even romantic rejections without losing your balance. What would your life be like if you saw every no as an opportunity to learn and grow? Here, you will learn how to strengthen your self-confidence, develop emotional resilience, and transform negative experiences into opportunities for personal power. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with a layoff, a relationship that didn't work out, or criticism that hurt your self-esteem. These lessons will help you emerge stronger from any situation. But why Marcus Aurelius? He was a Roman emperor and one of the greatest exponents of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches how to deal with adversity in a practical and emotionally intelligent way. Even surrounded by challenges, betrayals, and pressures, he maintained calm and mental clarity, using rejection and obstacles as stepping stones to becoming a better person. And the best part, you don't need to be an emperor to apply these lessons in your everyday life. Throughout this video, we'll explore how combining Stoicism with reverse psychology can help you deal with rejection strategically. You'll discover how to stop fearing no and instead use it to your advantage. Get ready for a practical and inspiring journey full of real examples and exercises that you can start applying today. Let's turn challenges into personal power together. Before we dive into the 13 Stoic lessons, it's important to understand who Marcus Aurelius was and why his ideas remain relevant more than 2 millennia later. Marcus Aurelius was not just a Roman emperor, he was a Stoic philosopher who ruled during one of the most turbulent periods in Rome's history. Wars, betrayals, epidemics, and political crises were part of their daily lives. Still, he maintained his serenity and mental clarity, writing his reflections in Meditations, a book that has become a timeless guide for dealing with adversity. But what is Stoicism exactly? In a nutshell, it is a practical philosophy that teaches how to live with virtue, wisdom, and emotional balance, regardless of external circumstances. Stoics believe that we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react to those events. And this is where rejection comes in. Instead of seeing it as a defeat, the Stoics encourage us to see it as an opportunity to exercise resilience and self-knowledge. Now you may be wondering, what does reverse psychology have to do with this? Reverse psychology is a technique that involves approaching a situation in the opposite way to what is expected, often to achieve a more favorable outcome. For example, instead of running away from rejection, you can embrace it as a natural part of life and use it to empower yourself. When we combine this technique with Stoic principles, we have a powerful tool for transforming negative experiences into personal growth. Imagine, for example, that you were rejected from a job interview. The common reaction would be to feel discouraged and question your abilities. But by applying Stoicism and reverse psychology, you can reflect. What is this rejection teaching me? How can I better prepare myself for the next opportunity? Instead of avoiding pain, you use it as fuel to become more competent and confident. This mindset is not just theoretical, it has been tested and proven by great names in history, from business people to athletes. Steve Jobs, for example, was fired from Apple, the company he founded. Instead of giving up, he used this rejection as motivation to create Next and Pixar, and eventually returned to Apple stronger than ever. He didn't let rejection define him. he turned it into power. Throughout this video, you'll discover how to apply this same mindset to your life, whether at work, in relationships, or in any area where rejection seems like an obstacle. Let's start by exploring Marcus Aurelius's 13 Stoic lessons, each accompanied by practical examples and exercises that you can put into action right away. Lesson 1. Amor fati, love your destiny. Marcus Aurelius's first lesson is amor fati, or love of destiny. Instead of fighting rejection, learn to accept it as an inevitable part of life. Think of rejection as a strict teacher who is here to strengthen you. For example, if you've been rejected in a relationship, instead of regretting, be grateful for the opportunity to learn more about yourself and what you really want in a partner. Stoicism teaches us that resisting what we cannot control only creates suffering. Instead, embrace every experience, good or bad, as part of your journey. Lesson 2. Premeditatio malorum. Anticipate the challenges. The second lesson is premeditatio malorum, or the anticipation of challenges. Imagine worst-case scenarios like being rejected from a job interview or receiving harsh criticism. By visualizing these situations in advance, you prepare yourself emotionally to deal with them in a calmer and more rational way. For example, before an important presentation, think, what if I am criticized? How will I react? This practice is not about being pessimistic, but about being prepared for any outcome, reducing the emotional impact of rejection when it happens. Lesson 3. Control what you can control. The third lesson is to focus on what is in your control. Marco Aurelio teaches that we cannot control the opinions of others, but we can control our actions and reactions. If someone rejects you, it says more about them than it does about you. Instead of wasting energy trying to please everyone, focus on improving yourself and acting with integrity. For example, if a co-worker criticizes your project, instead of defending yourself, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Focus on what you can do to grow, not what others think. Lesson 4. Use reverse psychology. The fourth lesson is about using reverse psychology to turn rejection into motivation. Instead of fearing no, see it as a challenge to be overcome. For example, if you were rejected from a business proposal, rather than giving up, use that rejection as impetus to refine your approach and try again. Reverse psychology teaches us that when we change our perspective, we can turn obstacles into opportunities. Rejection is not an end, it is an invitation to reinvent yourself. Lesson 5. Practice emotional self-reliance. The fifth lesson is about emotional self-reliance. Marco Aurelio teaches us not to depend on the validation of others to feel good. Instead of seeking external approval, cultivate solid self-esteem based on your values and actions. For example, if you receive criticism, instead of feeling diminished, reflect, does this criticism define who I am, or is it just an opinion? Emotional self-sufficiency allows us to face rejection without losing our essence. Lesson 6. Keep perspective. The sixth lesson is about keeping perspective. Rejection may feel like the end of the world at the moment, but over time you realize it was just a small bump in the road. Marco Aurelio reminds us that life is made up of ups and downs, and every no is a chance to learn and grow. For example, if you were passed up for a promotion, instead of feeling defeated, think, what can I do to better prepare myself for the next opportunity? Keeping perspective helps us not to overestimate the impact of rejection. Lesson 7. Emotional detachment. The seventh lesson is about emotional detachment. The Stoics teach that we should not be attached to external results or approval. Instead of seeking success at any cost, focus on doing your best, regardless of the outcome. For example, if you are rejected from a project, instead of holding onto the failure, celebrate the effort you put in and what you learned in the process. Emotional detachment frees us from the need for control and allows us to live more lightly. Lesson 8. Resilience through adversity. The 8th lesson is about resilience. Marco Aurelio teaches us that obstacles are opportunities to strengthen ourselves. Every rejection is a chance to develop emotional and mental resilience. For example, if you face a series of failures, instead of giving up, ask yourself, what is this adversity teaching me? Resilience is not about avoiding pain, but about using pain to become stronger. Lesson 9. Self-knowledge. The 9th lesson is about self-knowledge. Rejection can be a mirror that reflects our insecurities and areas that need improvement. Use these experiences to get to know yourself better and work on your weaknesses. For example, if you are rejected in a relationship, consider, what can I learn about my expectations and behaviors? Self-knowledge helps us grow and avoid repeating the same mistakes. Lesson 10. Gratitude for challenges. The 10th lesson is about gratitude for challenges. Marco Aurelio teaches us to see rejection as a teacher that helps us grow. Instead of complaining, be grateful for the lessons that each no brings. For example, if you were rejected from an opportunity, think, what is this experience teaching me about myself and the world? Gratitude transforms pain into learning and helps us move forward with more wisdom. Lesson 11. Action over emotion. The 11th lesson is about action over emotion. The Stoics remind us that although we cannot control how we feel, we can control how we act. Instead of letting yourself get carried away by the frustration of rejection, focus on actions that can improve your situation. For example, if you are rejected from a project, instead of regretting it, ask yourself, what can I do now to better prepare myself for the next opportunity? Action takes us out of paralysis and puts us on the path to growth. Lesson 12. Cultivate virtue. The 12th lesson is about cultivating virtue. Marco Aurelio believed that true strength comes from living with integrity, courage, and wisdom. Instead of looking for external success, focus on being the best version of yourself. For example, if you are rejected, consider, am I acting virtuously in this situation? Cultivating virtue helps us face rejection with dignity and build a solid foundation for true success. Lesson 13. Live in the present. The 13th lesson is about living in the present. Rejecting the past does not define your future. Marco Aurelio teaches us to focus on the here and now, where we have the power to act. For example, instead of dwelling on an old rejection, ask yourself, what can I do today to move forward? Living in the present frees us from the weight of the past and allows us to build a more promising future. Now that you know Marcus Aurelius's 13 Stoic lessons, it's time to put them into practice. Let's start with a simple exercise you can do today to turn rejection into power. Exercise 1. Stoic Diary. Step 1. Take 10 minutes a day to reflect on your experiences. Step 2. Write down any situations in which you felt rejected or criticized. Step 3. Apply one of the Stoic lessons. For example, if you have been rejected in a job interview, practice amor fati, love your destiny, and reflect, what is this experience teaching me? If you received criticism, use control what you can control and focus on how you can improve instead of worrying about other people's opinions. Exercise 2. Challenge visualization. Step 1. Before a situation that may generate rejection, such as a presentation or a difficult conversation, practice premeditatio malorum. Step 2. Imagine the worst-case scenario, e.g. being rejected or criticized. Step 3. Visualize how you would react calmly and wisely by applying the Stoic lessons. Exercise 3. Turn no into now. Step 1. Every time you face rejection, ask yourself, what can I do now to improve? Step 2. Use reverse psychology to turn rejection into motivation. For example, if you were rejected from a project, use this as an impetus to seek new opportunities or improve your skills. We have reached the end of this journey, but it is important to remember that the real work begins now. The 13 Stoic lessons from Marcus Aurelius that you learned here are not just philosophical concepts. They are practical tools for transforming rejection into power. Every no you receive is an opportunity to grow, to become stronger, and to get closer to your goals. Remember, rejection does not define you. What defines you is how you react to it. By applying amor fati, you learn to love every experience, good or bad. By practicing premeditatio malorum, you prepare yourself emotionally for challenges, and by focusing on what you can control, you take control of your life, regardless of external circumstances. Imagine what your life would be like if you viewed every rejection as a stepping stone to success. If only you used every review as valuable feedback. If you turned every no into a now is the time to act. This mindset not only strengthens your emotional resilience, but also opens doors to opportunities you never even imagined. So what will be your next step? Choose one of the lessons that resonated most with you and start applying it today. Share in the comments how you will use these lessons in your life. And if this video inspired you, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Rejection is not the end. It is the beginning of a new journey, and you have all the power to transform it into something extraordinary. Thanks for watching, subscribe to our channel, and see you in the next video.